Hey, it's Natasha with SoldByNat.com, associate broker with Virtual Properties Realtor. And I'm a realtor in Gwinnett County and surrounding areas. Today, we're actually in Gwinnett County in Tequila, Georgia. Got here, I actually did some pop buys. And if you're not sure what that is, it's basically dropping by past clients, dropping off a little something for them. And I have 2 videos on that. So if you haven't seen that, please go ahead and check that out. While I wait for my clients to get here, I figure, let me make a video and share a few things. Really wanted to make this video because I mentioned in a couple of previous videos, one talked about multiple offers, the other one talked about down payment, and looking at homes that may be on the market for a little while or may need a little bit of work. If you keep running into putting in offers, homes are flying off the market before you can even get there. So this is one of those cases. My buyers had such a time, like we submitted so many offers on properties that I honestly have lost count. I'm gonna go back and actually count them up once we close. But guys, I lost count how many offers we put in and they weren't being accepted. Initially, it took them a while to come over and understand, okay, we really can't ask for closing costs. You know, even though I tell them that in the beginning, some people have a hard time grasping that and really understanding until they actually get in the market and they see, okay, we need to do better. So they finally got on board with not asking for closing costs, but even then, they still weren't having luck with getting their offer accepted. And if you go back to the video where I talked about down payment assistance, and I mentioned, you know, the rank of financing, which is cash, conventional, FHA. Aside from, you know, closing costs, they had an FHA loan. And when you're going up against cash and conventional loans, you know, it's real. It can be tough. Now for this home, it had actually come back on the market. So we came, saw it, they liked it, put in an offer, and we got accepted. Mind you, I said they had submitted so many offers and none got accepted. We were just like so happy that one got accepted. Did the home inspection. Shout out to John Watson of Whole House Home Inspections. And if you haven't seen the videos that I've done with him, you know I'll include them here and here. So from the inspection, we noticed really 2 major items. The plumbing needed some work because there was a significant leak. And there's a room in the lower level and we're gonna go down there and check it out. But when we saw it and were there, like we knew something was going on with it. It looked funky. But let me rewind a little bit. So in the seller's disclosure, the seller's property disclosure, that is a form that sellers fill out to disclose what they know about the home. So in the seller's disclosure, the seller disclosed that there was an issue with some gutters and water hitting the house. You know, they had some water intrusion, but they fixed that. The thing is, they fixed the outside. They didn't fix the interior. Thankfully, when we brought the concerns to the seller, they were willing to address it. Initially, they wanted to give my buyers a credit, but we really pushed for them taking care of the issue. And normally a credit would work for like minor things. But for something significant like these 2 items, we really wanted the seller to go ahead and take care of it. So when you're going through the inspection and repair negotiation process, that is something to speak with your agent about. If it's little stuff like caulking stuff or wood rot around doors or frames, and speaking of that, I have a video, the 12 things that are commonly found on inspection reports. Check out that video. If it's minor, okay, I could see that. Give us a credit, we'll take care of it after closing. Great. But if it's something significant, if at all possible, I would recommend putting that on the seller to handle. Why? My buyers could have accepted a credit, but we would have done an extension for them to give us more time during that inspection period and gotten vendors out here to give us actual quotes so we would know the actual dollar amount. Make sure that that credit is going to truly cover the repairs. Both the buyers and I are extremely comfortable with moving forward. Now, I know you hear mold and you're like, oh my gosh, no, we need to terminate and cancel and such and such. Listen, it just depends on the severity of it. And this one, it was not severe. And again, we knew exactly what the cause was. And the seller went ahead and got it remediated, and the buyers have a warranty. So we have all of the receipt, and that's another big thing. When I do the amendment to address concerns, the ATAC as agents refer to it, that is essentially the form that everybody signs to agree on what repairs are going to be done. In that, I put that the seller is to provide invoices or receipts for the work that is done. And if it's an issue that is more serious, like if it's an electrical, like I'm gonna request that an actual electrician do the work, not Uncle Bob or Cousin Donnie. We don't want them doing that. We want an actual professional. Same thing with the mold remediation. We don't want somebody just coming in with some Clorox and wiping down stuff. We want things addressed. So let's go ahead and check out what those rooms look like. All right, we're going downstairs. And one thing I wanna mention is that the seller was inclined to work with us. This is a pretty shot. I like how the open spindles look and you can see into the kitchen. But the seller was willing to make the repairs because the seller has already moved on. So, you know, he wants to get this place sold as well. So it was in his best interest. These were reasonable requests that the buyer had. So we can get to the area that I want to show you two ways. We can come around here and go through that door, or we can go through the garage. So we're gonna go through the garage. So this is the room. Let's put on the lights. This room looks 10 times better than it did before. So in the picture, you can see they had paneling that was all here. So while they addressed the exterior, they left the inside, and that was the issue. So when the mold remediation company came, you know, they took up all the wet material and the boards and did what they needed to do. And we have the receipts for all of that work. And shout out to the listing agent because she was very good to communicate with and understand what the buyer's expectation was. So understanding like, yes, he wants all the paneling, all that stuff removed off of the wall and for it to get treated. So yeah, so they're gonna just come here today. We're gonna have a look and just generally make sure everything is good in the house. The other problem area was there was a leak here, but we have the plumbing receipts and we're gonna test it when they get here. And the water was dripping here when a lot was on. So, you know, again, this is like a workshop area off the garage, but less that my buyer has to do once they close. Let's go this way. Now granted, you know, some things had to be done, some work needed to be done, but we got it all worked out. Forgive the echo, but I'm in the basement. The buyers are really happy and this is still a good, solid home for them. It's a split level and it just gives them a lot of options. So they have a room there, they have another room there, they have a full bathroom down here, they have another room in here, and that's just on the lower level. And that's a big plus for them. Granted, they didn't need a ton of space, but a lot of the homes that we saw, they were pretty, you know, pretty compact. So you think about that. They have a 7-year-old son. Are they gonna run out of space and need to move again? And this gives them that space. Also, it's not in an HOA. So if they decided they wanted to rent out downstairs or, you know, do something, they have the option because it's not in an HOA. And the acreage, I wanna say this is on 2 acres of land, but they have land for days, guys, land for days. So it is still a great deal. And how could I forget to mention this to you guys? In addition to those 2 major repairs, I also negotiated a credit towards closing costs for the other things that needed to be done in the home. So yes, definitely this all worked out. And that's why I say consider those homes that aren't necessarily flying off the market and you might need to negotiate a little bit with, because it has great potential. Now guys, look at the acreage. It is just so serene and quiet, and it's off the 316 highway, so they can just get to work. They're both in the medical field, so they can get to the hospital by jumping on the 316. Another nugget for you guys to consider when it comes to location and you're so set on, I have to be in this location, but I want to stay within this price. Be open to considering other areas. So yeah, technically they're a little further out. They're in Tequila and they were living in Lawrenceville, but this home puts them right next to the 316. So while it may be a little further out, it actually almost kind of works out better because now they're closer to the highway and they can just jump on that. No HOA. They have all this acreage. They don't have to worry about anybody bothering them. So my buyers just pulled up. I'm gonna get this walkthrough on the road. A good reason to do a final inspection. the seller apparently forgot to take their groceries with them. So I need to remind them to do that. So we are gonna make sure the plumbing was done. So we're turning on the water to make sure it's still not leaking down there in that room. And one thing I want to point out is that when you do a final inspection, you are not looking for new items. You are only looking for the things that you previously requested them to address. Now, if you get there and the house now has holes in the walls and things like that, yes, you want to point that out, but you can't go back to the inspection report and like, oh, I think we should have asked for this. No, that's not the time. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, share it with somebody that needs this information. Have a positive, peaceful, and productive day. Bye.